Welcome back to Von Blues Boxing, man. What's going on with everybody? So, I wanted to give my weekend recap of all the boxing matches this weekend. We had Jorge Linares versus Zaire Abdulev. We also had Amir Khan versus Kell Brook. We had Natasha Jonas versus, I believe, Namus. I forgot the girl's first name. And we also had Jaime Mogia versus Demetrius Bullard. And we also had William Cepeda. I forgot the name of the guy he fought, but William Cepeda was also on the Demetrius Bullard card. So I'm going to start with the first card, Zaire Abdulev versus Zohar Abdulev versus Jorge Linares. Now we know about Jorge Linares, former multi-weight world champion, good opponent. Gave Lomachenko a good fight. Recently lost to Devin Haney before this loss. Fought a lot of quality fighters throughout his career and has accomplished a lot in the sport of boxing. But Linares came up short. Abdulev stopped him in the 12th round. Abdulev just too fresh, too strong, and just was able to beat Jorge Linares. Both of the guys have lost to Devin Haney. Abdulev lost to Haney because his orbital bone got broken in the fight against Devin Haney. So yeah, so both fighters have definitely, Zaire, it was, I believe, a title eliminator, so I guess, or like a finalist fight or something. So Abdulev should be first in the rankings, in the WBC rankings, or second. So it was pretty good fight. Abdulev got the stoppage, so we'll see what happens with Abdulev. Good win against a veteran and a well-known fighter and a pretty good fighter in Jorge Linares. I don't know where Jorge Linares goes after this fight. I really don't. It'd be interesting what Jorge Linares is going to do for the rest of it. What he's going to do after this fight. Does he keep his career going, or does Jorge say, you know what, I done made enough money, it's time to hang up the gloves? So we see. Then we had in the afternoon, in the early morning, we had the Amir Khan versus Kell Brook card. And I wanted to highlight Natasha Jonas from Liverpool, England, Olympian. She's challenged for, I think, twice, 2 to 3 times for a world title, coming up short in each time. But she was able to get this win against Namus at the junior middleweight division in women's boxing, and she was able to stop her. Beautiful stoppage. The first knockdown was brutal, and it just showed that Natasha Jonas was just light years ahead of this girl, and she got the win, and she accomplished something big in her career. That's something that I think all fighters want to accomplish, is become a world champion. Not everybody gets a chance to do it, or not everybody does it, but she did it, and I just want to say salute to Natasha Jonas. Hard work throughout her career, and from fighting in amateurs, making it to the Olympic team, to coming up short against Katie Taylor, and I forgot the other girl she came up short against, and to finally do this at a weight classes 3 pounds, 3 weight classes higher. You got to still give her credit. Now, the other girl, Namas, wasn't in Natasha Jones' league, but at the same time, Natasha Jonas was just too damn good, and impressive stoppage. Stopped her. So yeah, check the ladies out. They be throwing hands. Don't let Bob Arum get to you. Don't let the words of Bob Arum sway you. But anyways, and then we had in the main event, Mir Khan, Kell Brook. We've been waiting for this fight for years. It's been a fight that's been talked about for years, and for whatever reason, it never came off. But we finally got it late in their careers, both at 35. Kell and Amir kind of basically at the end of their careers, and we got the fight, and it was a fun fight. Kell Brook dominated the fight, put it on Amir Khan. Put it on him, dominated him. And it was an impressive win. I know people are like, well, it's Amir Khan, but Kell Brook, to be at his age and that stage of his career, to come out and have a dominant win like that after coming off a tough loss against against Terrence Crawford, and then go in there and get it done. Now, granted, Amir Khan, it was off for 31 months, but that's the name of the game, and Kell Brook had an impressive win, and he deserves the credit for that win. Now, what do I want to see with Amir Khan? I just think it's time to retire. Amir's been in the sport for a long time. People criticize him because of his chin and things of that nature. And sometimes sometimes Amir puts himself in bad positions, but at the same time, the man did it his way and he fought everybody he could fight. He fought top quality competition throughout his whole freaking career. He didn't duck any kind of smoke. He took on anybody. And I want to give Amir Khan his proper respect. He's a good fighter, man. He had a good Olympian career, good amateur career, and a pretty good pro career. Came up short in some fights, but he always fought the best guys in whatever division. Might have been 135, 140, 147. He even fought Canelo in a fight that he was up against it, and still went out there and fought Canelo and gave Canelo a pretty decent fight until Canelo just basically was like, all right, time to get you out of here. But I just want to give props to Amir Khan and thank you, Amir Khan, for being the warrior and the fighter that you are and going out there and always looking for the best competition, always taking on every challenge. That was the only challenge he didn't really take on in his career. That's the only dude. You know what I'm saying? He fought Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, Danny Garcia. He fought Marcos Maidana. I mean, the man fought Lamont Peterson. He fought everybody in every division he could, damn near. So we got to give Amir Khan props. Now, what's next for Kell Brook? I don't know. Kell's in a funny position, a weird position, coming off a really good performance and probably feeling rejuvenated. It's interesting where he goes. I said Conor Benn, but Kell Brook after the fight said that Chris Eubanks and Jr. and Conor Benn would be more of a matchup that he would want to see and things of that nature. But Conor Benn and Chris Eubanks Jr., it's just too many weight classes. Chris Eubanks fights at 160 and sometimes 168. It's not a logical fight. Conor Benn is at 147. He's just getting up the ladder, moving up the ladder. It makes no sense. I would like to see Kell Brook and Conor Benn fight. I think that's a fun fight. I think it's another nice little payday in the UK for Kell Brook. I think it'll be a stiff challenge for Conor Benn, and whoever wins that fight, Kell, hey, win, take a nice payday. But for Kell Brook, for Conor Benn, that just, if he could beat a guy like Kell Brook in his career, he just came off a win against Chris Algieri, stopped him. That'd be huge for him. So, yeah, that's a fight I would like to see. Conor Benn and Kell Brook. That would be big in the UK. But and then later on in that evening, we had the return of Jaime Munguia versus Demetria Ballard. Now, Jaime Munguia has been a pretty good fighter at 154 pounds. He was a world champion. He couldn't really make 154, so he moved to 160, and he's gradually been just moving his way up. Hasn't had a title shot yet. I mean, I know he's ranked high in the WBO. I think he's 1 or 2, and then he's ranked high in the WBC. But just for some reason, he couldn't get. I don't know if his Oscar De La Hoya or his handlers really was trying to push for that Jamal Charlo fight or push for the Bubu Andrade. But both of those fights don't look like they're gonna happen. So. And then Jaime Munguia took on Demetrius Bullard. I don't know much about Demetrius Bullard. Not much. I'm not gonna pretend. I'm never the one to pretend to act like I know every single last fighter and their background and the wins they've had and things of that nature. I don't pretend to be like that. But Demetrius Bullard, decent fighter, came in there, he had confidence coming in there. There were some questions because Jaime Munguia had a really, really bad weight cut. He almost passed out after, making weight and stuff. So that, there was a lot of questions. Was Jaime going to be, 100% coming into this fight? And he proved that. He stopped Demetrius Bullard. What was second, third round? I mean, hit him with a big shot and just got him out of there. You know what I'm saying? So Jaime, even with that weight cut, even though he had a tough weight cut, he was still able to come in there and perform and put on a damn good performance. So salute to Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia is a pretty good fighter, but that WBO belt is about to be open, with Demetrius Bubu Andrade going up to 168 pounds and fighting a title eliminator fight, or a title eliminator fight against Zach Parker at 168 pounds for the WBO, in the WBO. And so that title will be open. I think Jan Beck and Jaime Munguia for that title. That would be a good one. Possibly Jamal Charlo going up to 168 if he can get this fight with Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? If Canelo takes the 2-fight deal with PBC, he possibly could get that fight. Or I would like to see him fight David Benavidez. If he can't get Canelo, Why not David Benavidez in May or later in the year, or Caleb Plant? That would be another good fight. Because I mean, right now, if the 160-pound division, some titles are going to open up. Especially if Canelo signs the 2-fight deal with Eddie Hearn. For Triple G and Dimitri Bivol, he those titles are gonna be open. You know what I'm saying? Because for sure that WBO title is about to be open. So I think that's the next fight. Jaime Mogia and Jan Zanbek. I think that's a good fight. I think it's a tough ass fight for Jaime Mogia, but man, Jaime beat that dude, got us a star in the making. So yeah. And then also William Zepeda was on the card. William Zepeda, good fighter out of Mexico. High knockout ratio. I think he's what, 26-0 with 23 knockouts now because he stopped the opponent he fought. But he showed some vulnerabilities in that fight, defensively and sometimes offensively. He showed some vulnerabilities, but all fighters do. But the thing was, was really curious about that fight because Oscar De La Hoya said that he could beat Devin Haney right now. Oscar, after watching that fight, William not ready for Devin Haney right now. He's not. He's just not. And he's just not Oscar. Not right now. Cepeda need a couple more fights. Fun fighter, but, still kind of green at the higher level. Still needs some, some more seasoning before he get up there with the big boys at 135. But yeah, and another thing I'm gonna be doing with my weekend boxing recaps, I'm going to be giving performance of the week. Weekend, I think the fighter of the weekend was, and I thought about it, Kell Brook. Kell Brook had the most impressive, he had a very impressive performance, and I think he's fighter of the week. Just for him to finally put that rivalry to bed and finally get that opportunity and do what he said he was going to do all those years ago, and it come to fruition. And I mean, just to do it, it's amazing, man. I mean, just to have that opportunity to beat Amir Khan, a rival of his and somebody he wanted to fight for years, that was big for him. So he is my performer of the weekend. But yeah, man, just wanted to give my recap of all the fights this weekend. I'm gonna start doing that. On Sunday, I'm gonna give recap of the fights from the weekend and things of that nature. So y'all be good, y'all be safe. Von Blues Boxing, I'm out.